Welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello everyone, I am Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And it's story time, story time, story time, story time. We're doing a story this month as usual, but slightly more unusually, we have a very interesting story with a very interesting title that is not the title that we expected.
Yes.
Now this is a Bible story. It's a very famous story from the Old Testament, so like the old book of the Bible. And when I opened it up, I saw it today and I saw, oh, Jonah and the whale, right?
That's what I said
It's a
too.
whale.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, now it's a big fish.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, a whale is, well, it's big, but it's not really a fish,
No,
right?
it's
You guys
not.
know this, right? A whale is a mammal. It's like us. It's a warm-blooded, air-breathing creature. It has live babies and things like that. Fish, though, are totally different. But they can be big,
Yeah,
I suppose.
and this was also the same reaction that I had because growing up,
Right.
I remember Jonah and the whale.
Jonah
It was
and the whale.
always the whale.
Exactly.
So we were kind of discussing why might it be the big fish now? Well, the Bible, it was originally written way
Thousands
long
of years
ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not
in another language.
Yes, not in English.
Yes.
And not just not in English, it got translated to several other
Right.
languages before it got to English. So the big fish, whale, there could be some translation errors and who knows exactly, but the big fish must be slightly closer to the right thing because that's what we're using now in more modern times.
I would guess so. I mean, I don't even know. Back then, did they know the difference between whales and fish? I don't know.
Who knows?
They didn't have a lot of scientists back then studying these things. So anyways, the point is there's a guy, Jonah, and there's some kind of big creature in the sea. If you want to imagine it as a whale, that's okay. If you want to imagine it as a big shark, that might make the story even more exciting. So whatever it is, it's a big fish, it's a whale, but the main thing is Jonah, our main character. So let's find out all about Jonah, the big tuna, the big shark, the big whale, whatever it is, it's in the story. Jonah was a messenger of God. One day, God commanded him to go to Nineveh. There, he had to go around and tell the people to change their evil ways. Jonah didn't like the idea and decided to run away. He found a ship. It was going in the opposite direction of Nineveh. It was just what he wanted, so he got on board. Okay, so Jonah and the big fish. As we mentioned, this is a story from the Old Testament of the Bible, the older book of the Bible. So this is stuff that happened before Jesus. This is Adam and Eve and creating the world, and Moses with the 10 Commandments parting the ocean or the sea, that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting stories, and of course, it's always nice to know this stuff. So let's find out what happened to Jonah in this famous old Bible story.
Yes, and so we start off with a little bit of who is Jonah.
Who's Jonah?
And it says, Jonah was a messenger of God.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a special job.
Yes. And so at this time, there were certain people who had kind of a way to communicate with God, or maybe they received messages from God, and their job was to go and tell that to everybody around and pass along the message that God gave them. And so this is called being a messenger. This is a noun, and a messenger is just a person who delivers a message. They have a message to give someone, they need to tell someone something, so they are the messenger.
That's right. Today, of course, we have telephones and email and things like that, so it's not a big job today, but if you think of those people who drive around delivering packages or even mailmen, postal workers, that kind of thing. But also, if you're a messenger from God, we would have used, there's another name, we could call him a prophet.
Yes.
Prophet, which is like a messenger from God. So he's a very special guy, and it says, one day God commanded him to go to Nineveh. This is a place from long ago. Think of this as being sort of in the Middle East, where we would have, Israel, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, those kinds of places. So one day God woke up Jonah, get out of bed, go to Nineveh. And so Jonah got up and brushed his teeth and did what God commanded. And what did he do in Nineveh? It says there, in Nineveh, he had to go around and tell the people to change their evil ways. People are often doing this in the Bible, right? Noah was trying to do this before the flood. God was very worried that there was too much evil in the world. And when we talk about evil or evil ways, we talk about things that are bad, things that are wrong, things that you should not do, things that might make you go to hell after you die. So, things like lying or cheating or murder or terrible things, stealing things, that kind of stuff. Evil, just bad acts, things that are wrong, things that are probably illegal today, but certainly things that you would not want your mom and dad to catch you doing. So, clean up your ways, he was telling people, or God will be angry.
Yes, and so we see, though, that Jonah didn't like the idea, meaning the idea of having to go to this place and tell everybody, hey, you guys are being evil and you need to stop or God will be angry.
Okay.
But he didn't like that idea. He didn't want to do that and decided to run away. So he decided, never mind, I don't want to go there. I'm not going to listen to what God said. I'm going to run away.
He wanted to quit his job.
Yeah, that's a hard job to quit when you're working for God.
When God is your boss, it's a hard thing to do. That's
Yes.
right. So what did he do?
Well, he found a ship.
Oh, okay.
It was going in the opposite direction of Nineveh. It was just what he wanted, so he got on board. So luckily, he found a boat. It's not going to the same place, so he hops on board and tries to go, whew, I don't want to do that. I'm going to run away.
God will never find me on this boat going in the opposite direction. Opposite basically means completely the other way. All right, if we're kind of looking at a map, opposite, if this is where you want to go, the opposite way would be this way. So north, the opposite would be south, or thinking of it more in a math kind of way, it's 180 degrees. So if someone says turn left and you turn right, you have turned in the opposite direction. So that's fine if you don't want to be where you should be, but it's also going to get you lost and make you late because you're going in the completely 100% wrong direction.
Yes, and then direction is just the way that you are going. So the direction is where you are facing and where you are walking. That is the direction you are going. But you might also say, I want to go this way, so I need to change my direction, and now I'm facing this way to go. You might also hear this word a lot if you are trying to find a place and you say, I don't know how to get there. Can you give me directions? And then somebody will give you the step-by-step list of how to get to a place. But in this case, it's just being used as the way that somebody is traveling or facing or moving. So he's going this direction on the boat, and that's the opposite of where he should be going. So let's see if God is happy about that.
Yeah, I think God has a pretty good GPS. He can probably find Jonah. But we'll have to wait till after the break to see what happens. And also, how does Jonah end up spending time with a really big fish? That's a whole other part of the story. We'll see you soon. At sea, the ship faced a terrible storm. The sailors were scared for their lives. However, Jonah knew that God sent it to punish him.
Okay, so we've just left Jonah in our story on a boat going the opposite direction he is supposed to go because God told him to go to the town and say, you guys need to stop being evil. And he didn't want to do that.
No.
So he's on a boat and he's traveling away.
That's right. I mean, imagine going to a place where people are doing evil things, but probably having a lot of fun. And then you come in, you're like, no, you can't do that. And you should go to bed early and you should stop cheating. And you'd be a big party pooper.
Yeah.
And nobody likes a party pooper. So he runs away and he goes in the opposite direction, hoping God won't know where he's gone. But of course, God knows where he's gone because God knows everything. And so it says, at sea, the ship faced a terrible storm. Oh, what a surprise. So there they are on their way to somewhere safe for Jonah, but all of a sudden things get very dangerous out on the ocean and a terrible storm just appears and the boat is being tossed around and rain is pouring down, lightning is crashing across the sky. The sailors are like, oh, we're all gonna die because this is a terrible storm. If something is terrible, well, it could be really bad. You know, how was that movie? Oh, it was terrible. We only watched 20 minutes and then we turned it off and watched something else. Or it can be kind of awful and scary in a really frightening way. I had a terrible experience when I was in a car crash or something like that. It was frightening. It was horrible. I would never want to do that again. And it could have killed me. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here. A terrible storm just kind of means a big, powerful, dangerous storm. Now, do you think this is just weather or do you think this is God?
Yeah, I think Jonah already knows that
probably.
It is not just a freak weather accident. It is something specifically to find him.
God is angry.
Yes, and as we see in the next part of the story, it says, the sailors were scared for their lives.
Sure.
Well, of course, they're on a boat in the middle of a terrible storm. However, Jonah knew that God sent it to punish him. So you can tell that Jonah's maybe not so afraid because he knows the storm is directly from God and that if he can maybe say sorry, then maybe it will stop. Or, you know, he's not so worried like the sailors because the sailors have no idea what's going on. And Jonah's like, oh boy, God found me.
Oh, now I'm in trouble.
Yes. And so he said that he sent it to punish him. And if you are punishing somebody, it is you are giving them some kind of consequence for doing something wrong. So they maybe, in this case, Jonah didn't go where he was supposed to go. So God decides to try to punish him with a storm. But it could be like if you maybe got not a great score on your homework or your test, and maybe your parents decide to punish you by saying, this week you can't watch TV. You have to study more. So this is a form of discipline or consequence to say you did something wrong, so now I need to punish you with some kind of consequence. And for Jonah, his parent is a very big, all-powerful being, so he gets a storm.
That's true. Much worse than being sent to your room with no ice cream after dinner. You could die on the ocean because God is really not happy with you. So there we go. We have Jonah out on the water in the middle of a terrible storm. Do you think this might be where our big fish enters the story? It seems like a natural spot for the big fish to appear.
Should be getting close, I think.
In the middle of the ocean. What? We're still going to have to come back tomorrow to see what happens with Jonah and the big fish. Will the big fish eat him? Will he eat the big fish? Is this the story of the first giant sushi buffet? The only way to find out is to come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Jonah was a messenger of God. One day, God commanded him to go to Nineveh. There, he had to go around and tell the people to change their evil ways. Jonah didn't like the idea and decided to run away. He found a ship. It was going in the opposite direction of Nineveh. It was just what he wanted, so he got on board. At sea, the ship faced a terrible storm. The sailors were scared for their lives. However, Jonah knew that God sent it to punish him.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 evil
evil 形容词，邪恶的。The evil king took John's land. 邪恶的国王夺走了 John 的土地。下一个单字 direction 名词，方向。Tracy looked in every direction but couldn't find her cat. Tracy 向每个方向看去，但还是找不到她的猫。下一个单字 terrible 形容词，猛烈的，糟糕的。The earthquake caused terrible damage to the city. 地震对这个城市造成了猛烈的破坏。Earthquake 指的就是地震。最后一个单字 punish 动词，惩罚。The teacher punished the students for being late. 老师因为学生迟到而惩罚他们。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 A commands B to 加动词 A 命令 B 做某事。Command 指的是命令、指使。课文中这句 God commanded him to go to Nineveh. 这句的主词是 God。当字首 G 是大写的时候，指的是上帝。我们来看看这个例句。The manager commanded the team to finish the report by noon. 经理命令团队要在中午前完成报告。下一个文法 run away 逃跑、逃离，后面可以加上 from 来接地点。我们来看看这个例句。The cat ran away when it saw the dog. 猫看到那只狗就逃跑了。最后一个文法 on board 在船、火车、飞机等交通工具上。我们来看看这个例句。The crew is ready to welcome everyone on board. 机组人员准备好迎接所有人登机。Crew 指的就是全体机组人员。以上就是这一课的重点文法跟单字，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Shane, what are you doing?
Oh, I was just checking to see if there's still some cookies.
Really? Because it looks like you were about to have one. And you know these cookies are for the party tonight, right?
Yeah, I guess I got caught red-handed, didn't I?
Yes, you did. But it's okay. Just don't do it again, okay?
Okay, I promise, and I'll help you bake some more cookies tonight.
Okay, you have to make sure you have enough for the guests tonight. Today's phrase is caught red-handed.
It means being caught in the act of doing something wrong, usually something dishonest or illegal.
The phrase comes from an old belief that if a person was caught with blood on their hands, they were likely guilty of a crime such as murder.
It's often used in legal contexts, but can also be used humorously or lightly in social situations.
Like Shane getting caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Right. Now we use it more generally for any situation where someone is caught doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. Here's how you can use it. The thief was caught red-handed by the security camera.
Or she was caught red-handed taking supplies from the office.
That's all for today. Until next time, don't get caught red-handed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.